This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
When our best was required. All we do is win. So much to get to today. Where do we start? The Vikings beat the Browns at the buzzer. Gophers blown out at Big House. Gopher men's hockey loses to Michigan Tech, while the Gopher women's team rallies in the third period against Boston U. Minnesota United shuts out Sporting KC in the regular season home finale, and the MLB playoffs continue. Not sure where to begin. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel of topics.
Wheel of Topics!
I want to talk about that Minnesota United club. That was a gutty win.
Commons golf game.
Oh, well, I did play.
What did you shoot today?
I shot an 81/37. I played 27 today.
Where'd we play?
I played at Loggers Trail.
Where'd you hit it on? One?
Right up the gut.
How far from the green were you?
I had a 7-iron in my hand.
Second shot?
Missed the green right.
Then what?
Hit a delicate little pitch to about 2 feet.
Then what?
2 putted for par. One putted for par.
Incredible.
It was one. I've had a trying year, Tennessee. I think that I know that you document all of the wheel of topics when it comes up on Commons Golf Game. I know you write these things down. You have a little journal for me, and it's been a trying year. And it was a mishmash. Same thing up at Golftoberfest up in Brainerd, just a mishmash. How about this? In a stretch of 5 holes at Golftoberfest, I went triple, bogey, birdie. I mean, it's crazy. But today I felt like I was starting to figure something out, so I went and played the back 9 a second time, and I shot I made 8 consecutive pars, and I bogeyed 18. So I think I might be back on my feet again. Club was my brush, ball was my paint, course was my canvas, but that can change again tomorrow. There's 3 things to my swing: big turn, get my wrist loaded like this, and then stay behind the ball. For some reason, I can't do all 3. You would think I would be able to, but I can't do it. I'll either won't make a big enough turn, or I won't set my wrists, or I lean into the ball, or I do a combination of the 3. But when I played that final 9 holes, I was at my best when my best was required.
I always love that one.
That's a quote from the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. He loves that one. I just wish
the Viking season has been a lot like your golf.
Yeah, it has been
this summer
very much so. I just wish I wish their best was required at the opening kickoff. That would help. It would save. It's like
or in week 2 or week 4.
I don't know if it's myocarditis is some type of inflammation of the heart. I don't think I have myocarditis, but it feels like it watching this club sometimes. They had to go. Isn't this the second win? Their last 2 wins have come like at the buzzer, right?
No. The Cincinnati game was.
Oh, well, it was their other win then. It was their other win then.
Chicago.
Didn't Chicago go right down to the wire?
No, I wouldn't say that either. We were down in the fourth quarter. That was the J.J. McCarthy fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, Pittsburgh, we came back so that we were making it interesting, but we didn't win.
It's always going down to the wire with this club, except for the Cincinnati game, and but that's fun. Again, when you're at the point in your life when you don't take sports as your whole life, just sports, quite as seriously as you once did. You still have your faves, right? I even root for randos every once in a while. Like if you're watching a game between a couple of randos, like I did not watch any of Buffalo, New England, but I was hoping New England would spring an upset, and they did. It's kind of fun to root for a rando when you really don't have your heart and soul invested in a club. It's kind of fun, but it's kind of cheesy that little phrase the coach uses about we were at our best when our best was required, but that is exactly what happened, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, the last possession by the Browns, the Vikings came up with they haven't been able to stop the run all season, and they made another running back look all world again yesterday. What was it, Judkins? Is that
Quinshon Judkins?
He looked like a combination of. Well, do you remember some? I don't know if you remember any. You probably know the names of the old Cleveland Brown greats. He was a combination of Jim Brown, Leroy Kelly, and was it Leroy Horde?
Leroy Horde, yeah, he was here for a little bit.
It was a combination of those three guys. The Vikings couldn't stop him. Your mama couldn't stop him. Your daddy couldn't stop him. The police couldn't stop him. An ordinary running back looks like an all-pro, just big chunks of yardage, too. But in that final possession, they came up with, I think, 2 no gains. Or maybe the first one was 1 yard, or maybe you got picked up a yard, then the second one. And then, what's the coach's name? He used to be here.
Stefanski.
Stefanski decided to throw the ball on third down. I don't know what the boys in the booth here on the Viking radio network thought of that decision, Teneby. Jonathan Vilma was bitter about it. He thought they should not have. They should have run it again, because then the Vikings were able to keep an extra timeout. And, at first I kind of rolled my eyes, shrugged my shoulder, and shook my head and said, yeah, but Jonathan, he wants to end the game right now. If the kid can complete a pass, it's basically the game's over at this point. So I don't blame him for doing it. But that last time out did come in handy for the Vikings to have that in their back pocket.
I would typically be all for the offense passing and going for it. But Cleveland might be different than a normal.
That's true.
Because you have a quarterback that I don't know, you can't trust in that situation. You don't have any quality receivers other than Jerry Jeudy. And your strength is your defense. Right. So it would make more sense in this situation.
But either way, it was 6-1. It was half dozen the other to me. But they came up with, they stopped the run 2 plays in a row to set up a 3rd and long. And whether you like the decision by Stefanski or not, you can debate that. I'm not here to do that. And then the offensive line down to 3rd stringers, I think, at 3 different spots. They were able to provide enough protection that Carson Wentz was able to put together a 80-yard drive. He went 9 for 9 during that drive. Addison, you know what I heard, Teneby? He missed the walkthrough because he took his dog for a walk. That was his problem. That's how he missed it. I'd probably send that to rewrite and have him punch it up a bit. But they put together a drive, and they were able to win the game. So they go to 3-2 going into the bye. Critical win. A couple of weeks of healing now, maybe for some of these players that have been banged up. And the Vikings have a message for the Motor City Kitties, by the way, in case the Kitties haven't noticed.
Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
We'll talk Vikings other side of the break with Peek at the Purple, and then all those other topics. We'll only get to a couple of them, but there's plenty to get to. And the coach at 2:30, live from the new Winter Park. Also known as TCO Performance Center. All that and more here on the Common Man program on The Fan.
Ian.
Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by 2 men and a junk truck.
Couple 13-14 pastime common. He is 10 to B. Mark Rosen will return tomorrow just before 2 o'clock. Head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, with his day after the game news conference, a little late. Generally, I think he does a 1:20-ish, 1:30. Going at 2:30 today, probably that time zone change. Plenty of time zones to cross, too. Cross the pond, circadian rhythms, body clocks, jet lag, the whole thing is there for the Vikings and the head coach. Time now for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. They're looking, if you're an electrician, you're looking for work, they have 2 openings. An apprentice electrician and a journeyman electrician. All you have to do is go to affordable-electric.com, and you can apply. And then again, if you took advantage of, if you bought an EV and you made the deadline by September 30th, you saved yourself $7,500 in tax breaks. You'd need one of those level 2 chargers installed in your garage. They can do that at Affordable Electric. Or any other electrical need, it's affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric.com. And remember, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Ooh, wow. Ooh, I'm starting to kind of enjoy that a little bit. I think there's another football hitting an inanimate object that's not getting as much attention as the Vikings one. It's blown up on the internet. on social that Will Reichard's 51-yard field goal attempt, which would have tied the game in the fourth quarter, hit that camera cable. They have the camera. Everybody's seen that one that runs from one end of the field to the other horizontally. And it goes, there's a cable that runs right down the middle of the field, and then that camera goes back and forth and back and forth. Apparently, the Jets and...
By the way, the Vikings one, was that confirmed? I've seen replays of it. I think it's all, everyone's assuming it is.
I'll get to that. But I was going to say, I was just doing the bit about, I was actually doing an inside joke for Abbott there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'll try it again. There's another football hitting an inanimate object that is not getting as much attention, I think, as the Vikings hitting the guy wire. Is that the Jets lost a chance at the end zone after their pass hits a Skycam. And apparently the officials botched the rule there. They were supposed to, if it hits Skycam, you're supposed to replay the down. They did not let the Jets, they did not allow them to do that. And I realize we're more concerned about the missed field goal. It looks like it hit something. The way that ball deflected, you're right. I've not seen, the NFL issued a statement that said, nope, our officials didn't see anything. It seemed like it had to hit something the way that ball it looked like it was headed pretty good kick. And then it
looked like one of my tee shots.
Yeah, it did. It just suddenly went viciously right. And whether it did or not, I don't know. But let's say it did. I mean, that could have been a game-altering. Well, it did.
Of course, yeah.
It could have been a game-altering development. The Vikings were able to overcome that when they stopped Cleveland, got the ball back, and as the aforementioned 80-yard drive in which Wentz went 9 for 9 in that drive, and the Vikings ended up winning the ball game. But it certainly looked like that, and I don't know. But remember, no official saw it. Vikings didn't complain about it. There was nobody on the field that said, "Oh, wait a minute now. How did that happen?" So nobody with the Vikings saw it.
I'm surprised Reichard didn't.
Yeah, well, you would
think out of anyone who would know it would be him.
Yes, because he was the one that kicked the ball. And you would think if he felt like I got a good kick. Because it was weird the way, and again, I didn't think anything of it. Maybe you were like me. When I saw it go like a wounded duck right, I thought, well, that was odd. But I just thought, wow, he must have really put a bad foot into that. That was probably it was almost like a shank, right? That's what it looked like.
I thought it was like a slice combined with maybe some wind. But even, if you look through the little flags that are attached to the uprights, I didn't see any movement on there.
So I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of it, but it could have ended up being a game-altering, season-altering development. Because the Vikings, again, you win. Now you're one game behind Detroit. You got to buy. We basically have 2 weeks off now, right? Because you have all of this week, then you have all of the next week before you play again. We have a number of players that are banged up, and we were down to 4 because they pulled Darisaw, and that was apparently a pitch count. And if I understood the coach correctly, it's a self-imposed pitch clock by Darisaw himself. Is that the way you understood it? Because I think he said, depending on the, I should dig up the quote. It was
on the Star Tribune today, he made it seem like, I just didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to go.
Right.
So it didn't seem like it was a coach's decision.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That it seemed there that the coach was saying it was a self-imposed pitch count by Darisaw himself and not the club. But the coach does say something like, I always defer. This isn't the exact quote, but I defer to what the player says in every way, shape, or form. And I think that's correct. I mean, if you look at a player and go, dude, I know that you're still concerned about your knee, but we need you out there. Game's on the line. And then if he goes out there and gets injured, well, then the coach looks like, well, the guy, he knows his body. He knows how. Now, I know there will be people that will push back on that, and they'll do you got to be tough, you got to suck it up, and okay, you can make that argument if you want, but if a player feels like, look, I had major reconstructive knee surgery, and I'm about not even a full year through it, and there's just apparently he was feeling it last week when he played, I think, the entire game. So anyway, regardless of what happened, they had was it 3 third stringers or was it even 4? They had Schoolies played everywhere. Brandl's never played center in his entire career, and he starts the game at center. He had the one snap was am I thinking of the right game when he had a low snap that Wentz was able to get near the ground? There was one low snap on the shotgun in that final drive, and Wentz was able to handle it. It was, I don't know if it was ankle high, but it was certainly lower than the knees. It was something about shin high, and Wentz was able to corral it. That could have derailed that drive as well. But offensive line came through, and I talked about this with Chad Abbott in the coroner's office earlier. I remember last year when I was what's the word I'm looking for? I was talking about all the Lions' injuries on defense, right? And I had Viking fans chiding me. Suck it up. Next man up. Quit complaining. That's the National Football League. Yet now you hear Viking fans go, oh, we're all injured over our offensive line. Well, see, it goes both ways. Major injuries to key starting players it's a fact of life in the NFL.
You take the good, you take the bad.
Yeah,
you take them both, and there you have.
Yeah, and it is hard to overcome. It's hard. It's not just. It is next man up. That's what you have to say because you got no other choice. You can't rub the genie's lamp, have the genie pop out, say you have 3 wishes. Your first is you wish for 3 more wishes, and your second, you wish that all your players are magically healthy again. Doesn't work that way. So to be able to overcome that's. And again, the Browns aren't the best club in football. I get that. Their defense is pretty solid. And I thought the kid for Gabriel, what's his name?
Dylan Gabriel.
I thought he played fine. For his very first NFL start. I mean, he had some glaring mistakes, but
didn't turn the ball over.
But he didn't turn the ball over, and I thought he did pretty well. So yeah. So for the Vikings to be able to that last drive, they again, the coach does the old have to be at your best when your best is required. It was because they provided enough protection. Jefferson and Addison were really good in that last drive, and the Vikings come out with a victory. And how much better is it? You come back, like Jefferson said, you don't want to get on that plane and come back with 2 losses, especially then you're 2-3. You're 2 games behind the Kitties. You got a tough gauntlet coming up with Phil. I know Philadelphia lost yesterday. They're doing that on ESPN where they're doing that. Which loss is more concerning, Eagles or Bills? If I'm a fan of either of those teams, I'm not concerned about either. It's really difficult to win 17 games.
Everyone panics after every loss.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
These teams are also close.
Yes, they're all so close, and those 2 teams will be fine. And here's what I'll tell you. Both Buffalo, I'm going to go out on a limb, Tennessee. Philadelphia and Buffalo will both be in the playoffs this year. I don't think they're going to be. So,
by the way, the right curd maybe hitting the ball off the cable on the Skycam thing or whatever you call that thing. I want to see the footage of the Skycam. Is it possible you see the Skycam wiggle a little bit?
You could.
Release the footage.
But on the Jets one, I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh, you could look up Jets Skycam. You can see the ball hit the Skycam. I mean, the Skycam, it hits it and falls away. Let's take a break. Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, affordable-electric.com. They are shockingly affordable.
Aquarius Home Services has your shot at 4 tickets to see Green Bay take on the Purple in early January, plus $500 in game day cash. Register for your chance to win today on the KFAN contest page. That's KFAN.com/furnace to enter today.
Now, that's not a laughing matter, unless you win, because you'll be laughing all the way to the bank. So, that's pretty cool.
Sounds like a heck of a giveaway.
Yeah, that's a hell of a giveaway, is what it is. Oops, I just swore.
Can I just take the $500 in game day cash and then not go to the game?
Could get a lot for those tickets, too. You take the tickets and then you go.
Yeah, you could scalp those.
You could scalp those in a real hurry. Before the program's over, speaking of scalping tickets, I found a couple of tickets on my dashboard this morning. Someone had broke open the driver's side window of my car. They left these tickets on the dashboard for just a couple of pickpockets. It's the Petty Theft Tour. It's Meat Sauce and Common Man. This weekend, we're less than a week away from the 2025-2026 Flop, Sweat, and Tears comedy tour beginning. Common and Meat Sauce are going to take over Max's on the Green and Spicer, just like the Power Trip takes over Las Vegas. We're going to take over Max's on the Green and Spicer this Saturday. You can get tickets right now at eventbrite.com. Eventbrite.com. They have a hotel there, too. So you can do play and stay packages because they have golf. So golf, comedy, and a place to stay.
And I think I know you well enough that you would be willing to stay there and go golfing with any of the ones who buy tickets for.
Breaking up. I can't quite hear what you're saying. Or you can be part of the heist when we give away tickets. We'll do that a little bit later. So don't call now. We'll do that a little bit later.
Is it petty theft tour because the tickets are cheap enough that it's just a small amount of money you're stealing?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. I think tickets are priced at like $25 or something. Then they have, the Eventbrite tack on. So I don't know, like $27, $28, whatever. It's cheap entertainment. You'll enjoy it. Sauce and I and Larry Mandela guy really fire up the crowd. So hope to see you there. Did you get a chance to look at the Jets webcam one?
Yeah,
that was a deflected pass. What happened was
I only saw it like going up towards the camera, so I was like, how is that pass going that way?
Well, it was deflected. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage. You hit the camera. So, Jets, they should have got the play over because here is what the rule says. I looked it up. If a loose ball in play strikes video board, guide wire, Skycam, or any other object, the ball will be dead immediately and the down will be replayed at the previous spot. That's what the rule book says. It also says, in the event the down is replayed, the game clock will be reset to the time remaining when the snap occurred, and the clock will start on the snap. All penalties will be disregarded except for personal fouls or unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, which will be administered prior to the replaying of the down. So the Jets ended up getting a figgy out of it. They kicked a figgy, but they should have got the play over, even though you'd say, well, they had the pass batted away, but still, by the letter of the law, they should have. So if the Vikings indeed, if Riker did hit the guide wire, he certainly shouldn't have been. He should have been afforded another opportunity. Like we say, it was a critical moment of the game that would have tied the game. It did not. Cleveland got the ball, but then we were able to go on to win the game. So all is right.
It would have been interesting though if they would have determined that it did hit the wire and they re-kick because. It did, assuming it hit the wire, it did appear like it was going straight.
It was, yes.
Right, so you could have had one taken away from you, and then let's say you missed the next one.
But
there'd still be some bitterness, but yes.
Correct. That's correct. But at least you would have had that opportunity to do it again. This text message came in. This is not Viking related, but I want to get it to you. This text message says, Kaprizov at $17 million or McDavid at 12.5. Which would Tenna prefer? Did we get fleeced? Did Guerin move directly into another set of self-imposed handcuffs? Did McDavid sign for 12.5?
He signed today, but just a 2-year extension.
Oh my gosh!
So, yeah, I'm sure from a dollar standpoint, and so what he's doing is, I'm going to make it 12.5. I'm going to give the team every opportunity to win a Stanley Cup the next 2 years. And my guess is, if it's not going well, he's leaving. So you could look at the positive or the negative side of that if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan. I think if Kaprizov had signed that deal here, I think there'd be more panic than the 8-year, $17 million.
Yeah, see, and I talked about. I've said this a couple of different times, and I'll say it again. And this is how I truly feel. 2 years, I don't know if I'd like. I was hoping that Kaprizov wanted just half instead of 8 years, he wanted 4. Because I would rather do 4 because there's no guarantees Kaprizov's going to. I mean, there's risks in it, all of it. We know with any contract there are risks. He could be injured first game of the season, and it could be career ending. Now that's highly unlikely, but it could. Or he could never be on the injured list again and turn into a first ballot. First ballot. What is it called? First ballot. First year. No. First ballot unanimous.
Yeah.
He could be a first ballot unanimous Hall of Fame hockey player too. So I don't know, but I would still, he's 27 or 28. By the time 4 years goes by, we'll know more. In 4 years, you would think that'd be enough time to get a pretty good idea if we could win a cup because we got some decent players around him. But it's I guess better to have 8 than none at all.
I never thought 4 years was going to be feasible because he's 33 when the 4 years is up. Mm-hmm. And I would assume he's still going to be prime Kirill Kaprizov by that time. But to assume that you're going to still get the big payday at 33 as opposed to 29, there's a lot of risk involved there. Unlikely. Is. So, the McDavid one.
But I'm taking the money out of it, though. I'm talking about Kaprizov is here for 4 years, making really good money, making his $17 million a year. But we're mired in last place, and he goes, I'm out. See, doing the McDavid thing, except doing it on his terms where it's 4 years. So you're right. I mean, I know Kaprizov was probably in it all for the money. But at the same time, if winning is really important to you, if you're...
But that's what I'm saying, though, like, the 4 years I don't think is feasible. You either get the money for 8 or what you're doing what McDavid's doing with 2, because McDavid can still now win elsewhere but also still get paid, whereas it's unlikely if Kaprizov after 4 years he could still win elsewhere but probably wouldn't get paid as much. So you know what I mean? So that's why that year total never made sense from a player standpoint to me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I don't know. I would. You're right. I mean, you could
there's
make
going to be some teeth chattering in Edmonton the next 2 years.
You could make that argument. But I still, if I'm the player, I think 4 years is fine. You get to 33. I think if you're still playing at a high level at 33, and if at that point you've already made a boatload of money, well, maybe you go somewhere else and for not $17 million a year, but you get your 12 and you go to a Stanley Cup contender. There's a lot of different. A lot of different ways to look at that equation. But if I was the player and the team, I would have wanted to. If I was the team, I'd have been asking for 4 years, not 8. We saw what happened with Parise Suter. That handcuffed this team for so long. I don't think the same thing's going to happen with Kaprizov. But the problem is we don't know. Plus, the cap is supposed to go up significantly in the next year or two. Is that right?
Yes.
So maybe that's what McDavid's also thinking about. Is that if he takes 18 or 19 million now for 4 to 8 years or whatever, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, the cap goes up so much he's not even a top 10, top 15 paid player anymore. I don't know. I don't know how much the cap will go
in 2 years, he can still get filthy rich and pick his spot of where he wants to win a cup.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. It's a topic that's going to come up again. I checked my
euthanasia.
No, I checked my email this morning, and I got a couple 13, 14 emails. I mean, the smoke is the dust is barely settled from the victory, and people are wondering what do we do at quarterback. If McCarthy we'd always the QB of the future. If he's ready to play against Philadelphia in 2 weeks? Do you go with him or do you stay with Wentz? Wentz has played very well. They even asked Wentz about it. I saw another quote. I don't know if you saw this quote, Tenneby. They asked Wentz, somebody, in the post game, asked him, think you should be the starting quarterback or something of that nature. And he just said, at this time in my life, I'm just taking one game at a time. And that's probably the best way to do it for him. For him to come out and say, well, yeah, I'd like to be quarterback, or no, I'm going to go. That's probably how he really feels. I just take it a day by day. Sure, every guy that's playing in the league wants to be a starter. So I'm sure if you press him, I say, well, yeah, I'd love to keep being the starting quarterback for the club right now, but I'm just happy with where we are right now. And it's going to, and the coach has kind of left it open. He never said that McCarthy's for sure getting his job back or not. He said last week he said that's a decision we don't have to make right now. I don't know how close McCarthy is to coming back. Those high ankle sprains can be a little, they can linger, right? They don't necessarily go away after a week or two.
So it sounds like late last week he was going to practice, but then the fields were wet, so they opted not to. But
so, matter of fact, I printed off some of the emails. Here's one regarding the question about quarterback situation. Well, basically, I guess I can just paraphrase it. He said, where is it here? That's about pogo sticks in the Olympics. That's a different email that we need to get to as well, because I think people are starting to catch on to the idea of pogo sticks in the Olympics. Halloween costume ideas. We could use those from you, by the way. Oh, by the way, 11 years ago on September 30th, 2014, there was an anniversary. 11 years ago, September 30th, 2014, Paul Charchian infamously said Brady wasn't the best QB on his team. Less remembered are his comments about Belichick not being a good talent evaluator. So that was...
I always love that one.
Well, anyway, I can't find the email I was looking for. But nevertheless, there are people that are wondering what we should do at the quarterback position. I've said this before, Timothy. I don't like to see a player lose his job to an injury, right? But this is the National Football League. It's there's a lot at stake. People take their sports is your whole life, just sports, really, really seriously. Well, except for Addison. He apparently doesn't really take it. I mean, does that bother anybody else? I mean, I don't play for the club, so it's not that big of a deal. But you saw what JJ said. I got to do a better job of keeping my eye on him and taking him under my wing. Does he really? And
He's an adult.
Can I say this right now? You know when they do those the combines, and all the teams interview these guys, and they give them the Rorschach test and the Heimlich maneuver test and all this. They're trying to they want to find out where the guy's head's at, right? That has nothing to do in their. They make that up because it's obvious. Unless Addison, he hasn't grown up yet. He has 2 incidents involving automobiles, 140 miles an hour in St. Paul. Then he pleaded to a dumbed down charge in California for driving while intoxicated, allegedly. And now he misses a walkthrough, and the team is all staying in the same place. It's not like he's back here in Minneapolis. Like, I don't know where he lives. I say he lives in, Invergrove Heights. Now, that's still close to the facility, so you shouldn't miss it. But he's where was he? What was he doing? How do you miss a walkthrough? It's unconscionable. It's just like, and again, they ended up winning the game, and he was instrumental late in the game, but it's like...
Well, especially given he's already had off-the-field issues before.
It's
not like a one-time incident where you slept in, your alarm didn't go off.
It's just crazy. But anyway, it's because here's the thing, and people have talked about this. They invested a lot of money in the club to win. Now you don't go get really expensive free agents, and that's what they did in the middle of the offensive line with Fries and
Rankel
and Kelly, and then we've got Hargrave and
Jonathan Allen.
You don't pay those guys that kind of money if you're not trying to win now. If you're just trying to break in a new quarterback and kind of see what happens here, and they should have been playing as if their window was. They won 14-3 last year. Darnold looks pretty good, by the way. Now, he had an interception yesterday that was a critical play. He looks really good. Man, I read another, I think it was an Athletic story that, again, anonymous front office guy with another team who was just astounded the Vikings didn't sign Darnold. Couldn't believe it. I got you to 14-3. Yeah, he had a bad game against the Rams or against Detroit. We get that. But if every guy that had one bad game, you'd never field a team, right? I still think part of that might be it was $100 million and they wanted to build the lines. That's a lot of money to play. And we've all talked about ideally the best case scenario is you can have a Jaden Daniels situation where you have a kid under a rookie contract for 4 or 5 years and he is just lights out. And that's what you're hoping with McCarthy. I think ego comes into play a little bit. I think quarterback whisperer believes he's quarterback whisperer and says, you know what? Yeah, it'd be
I
nice.
can turn water into wine.
I can turn water into wine. We're not going to pay Darnold money. We're not going to bring Aaron Rodgers in. We don't want the Aaron Rodgers circus in town. We can build this team, and I can coach up a kid who's never taken a snap in an NFL game and lead us to the big game. And maybe that could happen. I'm not saying it can't, but it's that's tough to do, I think, in this day and age in this league. We've seen what some of these young quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels comes right out of the gate. Other guys struggle. But
and what did Darnold get paid? Do you remember?
I think it's $100 million.
For 3 years? Is it 33 years?
I think it's 3. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. $100 million. That's a lot of money. So, and it's not as if Wentz has been just spectacular, but he's been gritty. He doesn't make many mistakes because he's the veteran quarterback. That drive he put together, tell me, how many times have I done this bit? You know how I judge a quarterback? I don't judge it by wins and losses and QBR and all this. I judge by when you have to make a drive to win a game. You got a timeout left. There's a minute, 2 to go. You got no timeouts or one time, and you need to get the length of the field and score. Can you do that? Can you be your best when the best is required? And that's what he did yesterday. He was really good. I think I saw.
If you think of 2 of the drives were stopped by fumbles.
Yes.
One drive, a field goal missed because it hit the wire.
Correct.
Right. So the end score doesn't look great, but they had chances to put up a lot more points.
But when the best was required, when they played their best, when their best was required, and I think I saw, and I'll dig this quote up sometime during the Grum here if I get an opportunity to, but I gotta make lunch next. Something about, I think O'Connell basically said maybe Wentz was recanting what O'Connell told him, but somewhere I read in one of the gamer stories from some website, I might have been Fish Wraps East or West or Athletic, that O'Connell went before the last drive. He went to Wentz and said, "You just got to trust the protection. You just got to trust it. You got to stand in there, and the protection was good, and they were able to take it down. He did what he needed to do, and you're 3-2. He's 2-1, and you got to go back and." McCarthy wasn't very good, folks. He was really good in that one quarter. It's not all his fault. But I don't know, how well does he fare yesterday in that situation with
that offensive line?
With that offensive, I don't know if maybe he's brilliant. He could be. I'm not saying he couldn't have been. But you know what you got in Wentz right now, and you don't with McCarthy. And if you really have designs on contend, I think it's a tougher decision than people think. I get the text messages and emails from people. Last week it was, we already know this team's going nowhere. They're terrible. You got to let the kid play because we got to see what we got and get him experience. Well, do we know that? They're 3-2. We see teams win and lose. We talked about the Bills just lost, and the Eagles. Eagles lost at home. Bills were at home. They lost to inferior teams, generally speaking. If those 2 matchups occurred 10 weeks in a row, Bills and Eagles probably win 8 of them, right? 7 of them. And so anything can happen.
Arizona lost to Tennessee at home in just catastrophic fashion.
Yes, much to the chagrin of Deuce. No! The spread's funny. It's Deuce is he's cursed, is what he is. But so I think
Did he lose both? I don't remember his other one.
Well, I think the Cardinals one, he did get like a point. I mean, I just think
Well, I mean, they had to have lost on that because Tennessee was the underdog.
Well,
there.
yeah, but he got a point somewhere along the way.
Okay, on his other one?
Yeah, I think on one of the games he got a point or something. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't well. So I don't... I don't know.
I would just say give it another week. You know, we don't need to make a decision on who's quarterbacking the rest of the year right now. You just let Carson Wentz in a spite game against Philadelphia. It's a better team, right? I mean, Carson Wentz's 2 wins are against the Bengals and the Browns. You know, not the toughest of teams. Let's give him a chance against a team that's going to be a playoff team, big game contender in the NFC, and see how that goes.
I think that's
because my thing is, I think if you want to be competitive the rest of the year, I think Carson Wentz is your best option. But I'm not convinced you're going to a big game with him.
Right.
And so if you want a chance at a big game and or developing potentially a franchise quarterback to see what we have next year, then McCarthy might be the better option.
I think you're spot on with, I'd give him another week. I would let Wentz start. Even if you know in-house that McCarthy's ankle is 100%. Because let's say you go with Wentz, and let's say Wentz has a bad first half. Let's say the Eagles are all over, right? And you're down 17-3 or 17-0 or 21-7. Well, then you can go to McCarthy at that point. I'd like the way Wentz has played. It hasn't been perfect, but I kind of like that veteran savvy. Let's take a break. When we return, Tennessee's got a little 5-3-4 for us.
Yeah, we were beaten down by the Buckeyes on Saturday.